Hello everyone, welcome. It's your friend Tony Ortiz back again here, and this is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. And we are back at the Randomizer tutorial series, and I want to get you familiar with the game. Again, this series is modular, so feel free to skip around wherever you need to go. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about all of the equipment that's in the game. Alright, so now when you get into the game and you'll start playing, I already mentioned you'll see a set of DLC and all that, but let's talk about what each category of equipment does a little bit more in detail. So let me go ahead and run you through all this stuff. So first of all, we have weapons, of course. Every weapon is kind of unique in what it does. There are special attacks on certain weapons. So as you can see here, I have commands that I can put in when I have a pair of boots. They deliver like kick attacks and stuff like that. There are swords and short swords. They do like the standard sword stuff, and a lot of them have a quarter circle forward and attack, so that they can do special attacks. We have daggers. They're a little bit more short range, as you can see, and we have clubs, which are basically the same as swords. They have the same hitbox and all that, very standard. And we have great swords, which have a big overhead swing. You can see how the hitbox kind of hits behind Miriam first. You can jump over enemies and actually hit them from behind without turning around, which is kind of cool. It kind of makes up for the bad delay that each weapon in this category has. We've got spears, self-explanatory. A little bit more linear, but a little bit longer range. So depending on what kind of spear you have, you might be able to stay a little bit further away from stuff and attack with spears. And then we have katanas. Let's grab a katana right here. Katanas had this like iaijutsu kind of like swing from the sheath kind of animation. So it's a little bit cool because it goes up and above, so you can kind of hit stuff without jumping as high. But if you have enemies that are low to the ground, you'll probably have to crouch to hit them because the swing will go right over their hitbox, kind of like that. And then we have some, I already showed you the hand and feet weapons, so like, kicks and stuff. And then we have one more unique type of weapons, and that are guns. That's right, there are guns in this game. Guns need ammo to work. You'll always have this like basic jank ammo. The problem with guns, though, is you'll almost never see them. And the reason is because good ammo is so hard to come by, and the best guns don't have as high of attack power as, say, like a lot of the best weapons. And also, when the game has a bunch of magic in it that has range, that goes off of a different stat, doesn't need ammo, there's a MP, which you can use to items to refill like all the time. You just don't see guns used quite all that often. So that's pretty much every basic weapon type. Oh, we're missing whips. Do I have a whip in here? No, I don't have a whip. So let's show you a whip real quick if there's one I can buy.
What would you like to buy?
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, thank you.
The whips are really cool. Whips, I actually like. I wish there were more of them in the game. This one's actually a good one too. So you see, whips have this longer startup. They have a smaller hitbox behind themselves than like the greatsword does, but they have a much bigger hitbox going forward. And if you get used to jumping and attacking and canceling this by jumping out of your attacks, or you can even backdash out of your attacks. Well, you can't backdash in the air out of your attacks. So you have to jump, attack, land, backdash, and then you can kind of see how that will chain together. That kind of, you can kind of jump, attack, land, attack, backdash, jump, attack, land, attack, backdash, jump, land, and you can continue that and you can get a lot of extra melee hits in. So that's all your weapon categories for the most part. Yeah, I think that's everything. So anyway, back to this here. Headpieces, pretty similar. And this is just head armor. This is what you do. You equip a head armor, you get stat boost, you get maybe a smaller description down there that'll tell you what's going on, like this one. Increases your firearm damage. Armor, very similar, same thing. And scars, almost exactly, again, the same thing. You just equip them, they give you stats, they might give you a special ability. Accessories are very important to note because the way the accessories work is not exactly explained to you, but you can equip 2 at any time. The thing is, it does actually follow a body equipment system. So you can use 2 rings because Miriam has 2 hands. But if you try to put on a second necklace, you'll see that the other necklace gets unequipped because Miriam only has one neck. And this applies to belts as well. So if I try to put on another belt, you'll see it will unequip the belt that I have. So notice that and keep in mind when you're trying to make sure what you want to wear and like if it's going to synergize or not, those restrictions in mind. Okay. You can go through the menu here and kind of like, find whatever you want. Okay. And then let's talk now about the other stuff in the game. These are the items. Okay, so now, potions, self-explanatory, they heal your health. Ethers, heal your mana. There's various items in the game that will restore your status. So like Myth Hydrate and Stone Thaw will, remove you from poison and stone. There are some other weird items like poison, which will poison you. This is typically going to be used as an ingredient, but you could also use it to poison yourself. There are some weird items in the game that want you to have low health or, do whatever. Waystones. This is what the library card does basically in Symphony of the Night. You just use it from anywhere. You open the menu, you hit it. You can be in the middle of a boss fight, and it will teleport you to this spot here in the village area, which is like kind of your base, your hub area. Then you have all sorts of food that you can craft, and I will talk about what food does now a little bit. Now you notice the blue stats over there on the right side of the screen, total bonus. So how food works, and the reason there's like a little fork and spoon next to each of these foods, is the first time you eat a food, over there on the left you see that consume the menu, it's going to grant you a permanent bonus to that stat when the first time you eat it. So if like I have 4 fried fishes, the first time I eat one, it's going to give me +2 intelligence for the rest of the game. Just flat. I get it. So sometimes you'll see us eat food even though we don't need health or mana back because we just want the bonus. There's all sorts of different food in the game that you can craft, and some of it even comes out of chests, and some of it's very, very valuable. Anything that increases your MP regen, your max MP, your main attack stats, strength, luck, and int, all those are premium, and we'll go about those as we can. This is just the ingredients menu to make all your food. You can come here to Johannes to make it. He's also your creation hub. He lets you create all the stuff, including shards, and he'll let you create food if you have the ingredients. You can create other ingredients with other ingredients, as you can see here, and then you can create the dishes. And then this menu is all of them combined. You can enhance your shards. We'll talk about that in a minute. And you can dismantle their equipment if you have alcohols, which are shown up here in the top right here. If I move myself out of the way, you'll see a number right there, 35. But you can also check the inventory of yourself. Oops. I didn't want to make... That's okay. And you can go here in inventory and you can go to the crafting, and outcast will be at the top. So you can always check and see how many you have. Okay. And then you have your key items here. This will show you all your key items. We kind of went through this a little bit before, but you have all your recipes and everything. How the recipes work is they will unlock a slot. So this one unlocks the ramen dish, right? So talk to Johannes, go to prepare. Ramen will appear here in the menu. I think it's this. It's one of these, right? It's in here somewhere. But that, yes, here we go. So these ramens will unlock when you find that recipe. Now, in Randomizer, the food is going to be the same. It's going to be locked. This stuff never gets shuffled. So the food and what it takes to craft it, what it takes to craft the ingredients, and the food recipes are not shuffled, right? So they just open up whatever. However, everything else is shuffled. So when you get a crafting recipe that says like legendary equipment, this is a random item now that's available for you to craft in the shop, and so on and so forth down the line. All these are random items that you'll be able to equip. To craft. Obviously, you can equip everything because there's only one character, but yeah, like so. These will have new slots will appear here. So You'll check back in the shop. You'll check to see what you can craft. You may be able to craft something better, depending if you have the materials or not, and so on. And it's pretty self-explanatory on how to craft stuff. You just find the recipe, you find the ingredients, and then you make, whatever you want to make. All right. And then lastly, we have the books, and I mentioned this before. These are all the books that you have borrowed from the library. Now, you can only borrow one book at a time in the beginning, and then you'll be able to borrow 2, and then you'll be able to borrow 3. If you play a regular playthrough of the game, if you do all the completionist stuff and you get to the very end, you will then unlock the ability to borrow all the books, 100% of them, from the Deadeye Tome in North. And then these books here are a little bit more of a secret. You won't find these in the base randomizer. They are part of the extra content, I believe. So, but you'll have the 3 there. If you forget which 3 you have, you can check in your inventory. Okay, so that's pretty much everything in the game. I mean, we could go into more detail about like some of these items here. Like these items can only be used by a very specific familiar that will follow you around. But that's pretty much all there is to all the items in the game. And we covered everything in a pretty short time. So as always, if you are enjoying the series, please check out the further videos in the line. And we'll talk more about all the other stuff coming forward. And as well, make sure before you're done, even if you're all filled on your Bloodstained randomizer content tutorial stuff, to check out the last video in this playlist, because it is going to contain an announcement. If you're still in 2025, that announcement will be relevant. Promise on that if you're interested in Bloodstained. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.